Good morning. I welcome you all for the today's webinar on the topic Capital Market, the way ahead. Today we have with us CA SP Tulsianji, Capital Market Wizard, who is the speaker for the today's webinar. He is also a law graduate and a regular speaker at our JB Study Circle. I thank you CSP Tulsianji for accepting our invitation for sharing his knowledge about the capital market. Today we have CA Mahesh Bagaria as a moderator for the today's session. He is the first elected convener of the JB Study Circle. He is practicing child accountant and investment banker. He is financial and management consultant and SEBI approved category 4 merchant banker. With this, I request CA Mahesh Bagaria to formally introduce the speaker.
Very good morning to all of you. Thank you, Seema and JB Nagar CP Study Circle of WARC of ICAI for giving me an opportunity to become moderator on today's burning topic, capital market, the way ahead. Due to COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown, we have been unable to conduct physical CPE meetings, but recently ICAI has issued guidelines to hold virtual CPE meetings, that is VCM, by study circles, and this is the first such meeting of our study circle. Like other professionals, chartered accountants have also been greatly impacted, and most of them have started working from home, now worldwide commonly known as WFH, by updating their IT infrastructure. World economy has been impacted due to deadly COVID-19, and India is no exception. Reserve Bank of India and Government of India are trying to boost the economy with various relief measures and new reforms to help industry and trade. Capital market also has been very volatile post-COVID-19.
Mahesh has some internet issue. So I'm introducing the speaker and we will start the meeting immediately. CASP Tulsian is a commerce and law graduate from Bombay University. Mr. Tulsian is also a chartered accountant and a company secretary. He was awarded with Poddar Ratna Award by R.A. Poddar College, Mumbai in the year 2010, which has been conferred to only 50 Poddarians since its existence over 75 years. Armed with academic and an acute sense of logic, SP Tulsian is a much sought after fundamental analyst today. Mr. Tulsian started investing in stock market since 1975, and at that time, according to him, he need to earn some pocket money was what led him to the path of stock market investment. Investing and advising on stock market has been his passion and the way of life for the past 45 years. Presently, he is providing timely and apt investment advice on www.sptulsian.com, of which Mr. Tulsian is the editor and CEO. With this, I welcome CA SP Tulsianji and hand over to him. Over to SP Tulsianji. Thank you.
Thank you, Seema ji. Thank you very much for nice introduction, and I hope that Mahesh ji will also be able to soon join all of us. I'm grateful again to JB Nagar Study Circle. In fact, this is really a great platform to express my views also, and I have been enjoying this privilege maybe for last 3, 4, 5 years. And Mahesh ji in fact started with in his introduction speech that we have been known to each other from 1991, when I used to publish my tabloid premium investments, that is Investment Weekly, and he used to manage the IPOs, and since then we have a very good equation. And thank you Mahesh ji, and thank you Seema ji for this event. Now the topic which has been chosen today is seen to be very apt: the capital market way ahead. In fact, we all I'll straight away focus on the present state of the capital market. I won't go into the background. Only the reference point will be referred in the background. or for the background, purposes. Otherwise, I'll straightway go on the topic of the present situation, which has all shaken all of us. Now, if you really see, firstly, from the present status, I don't think that anyone can say that he's present, whether he's in a profession or he's in a business or even he is in a medical profession for that matter, can say that his economic situation or economic status is remaining the same what he used to see it maybe prior to February or maybe prior to March 2020. So we all got shaken because of this pandemic, but now the situation is, as Mr. Ratan Tata has said, that one should look for the health and life rather than the money and finance at this stage. And that's right. And I pray God that we all come out with this problem very soon. Some people are saying that probably we may have to live for whole of 2020 with this. Some people, in fact, are predicting maybe 15 to 18 months because till we develop the vaccine for this, we cannot really expect any concrete solution to be seen for this pandemic. And some people are, in fact, taking a very longer view as well, that even if the vaccines are developed, the mutation of this virus has happened in 10 parts, and it's very difficult to make the vaccine for all 10 of that. But let's keep the hopes. Hopes is alive. Hope, you always, are hopeful, and that is always a source of strength for all of us. So with this background, nice to see Maheshji back you here. Thank you. I could see you on the video. So again, coming back on the present situation, in fact, sometimes I wonder that why we are not able to take the advantage of this present capital market situation for either reshuffling our portfolio or making money. And if you really ask me, I may be a little blunt here, but I don't intend to offend anyone, those who are into the profession of the capital market advisory or investment advisory, or many of the CA friends, my colleagues, they all must be in this field. But our psychology seems to be so fragile, or in fact, when it is sometimes, if I talk in the cricket terminology, I would say that many of us, when we go on the ground, we don't go on the ground to play the match with a winning aim, with a winning intention that we want to win. Either we think that, okay, let's go and play, draw ho jayega, dekh lenge, ya, chalega, like this. So you have to pull up your socks if you really want to make money in the stock market. And more especially, the abnormal situation always demands the abnormal, line of actions by all the investors and all the market participants. And this is what we have been seeing here now in the current situation. Now, if you really ask me every morning, because I sit across, we have on our portal, where we advise on the real-time basis to all the members also, to their queries and all that, probably which is not offered by any investment advisor in India on a real-time basis. During market hours, the queries get replied in 10 to 15 minutes. And we always see the people, or the investors seem to be very tired. It seems that they have been thrown or they have been forced to come into the stock market. They will always be talking of the terminology which I hate, the term, this is the stop loss. Why there can't be stop gain? Why you come with a frame of mind that I want to have what is a stop loss? That means he has made up his mind that I have to lose some money, and then only, there only I want to exit. That means he has come with a mind कि चलो थोड़ा सा loss चला जाएगा, थोड़ा loss भर देंगे और कोई दिक्कत नहीं, चलो निकल जाएंगे. That's the losing mentality. That's the giving up mentality. Which with that frame of mind, you can never make money. For making investments into the stock market, you need to have some kind of patience, some kind of futuristic assessment, some kind of expectation. The second point which I hate is that we don't have a time horizon. In fact, I would say that we are all loved to, or maybe the price illusion theory, the economics, those who have read economics in their graduation in the BCom or BA or BSc in a BA, they must have read the price illusion theory. I think this price illusion theory perfectly works in the stock market. Now, let me give you an example of some of these stocks. We love to buy the expensive stocks when they are rolling very high. Maybe it is Page Industries, maybe it is your Bajaj Finance. We all love to buy them as long as they roll very high. I'm trying to blow my trumpet on that day. Titan was ruling at around 1300 plus. If I want to be precise, 1306. and someone has asked me from the audience, from the same JB Nagar study circle, can I buy Titan? And I said that you just get out of this Titan stock because this is seen to be very expensive. I'm not referring to the present share price of 850. One may argue that, okay, all the stocks have taken a beating, rightly so. Whether you talk of the HDFC kind of stocks or maybe HUL kind of stock, in this pandemic hit market, all the stocks have taken a beating. But take the case of Titan. I'm taking this as a case study, not to, again, what you call hurt the sentiments or the feelings of any of the experts here, those who have been, into the capital market. Point is that even if you situation when market was virtually at all-time high, even that time the Titan was ruling closer to around 1100 rupees. Maybe if I'm not taking the 52-week low at that point of time, which was at closer to about 1000 rupees, because of the bad Q3 numbers which we have seen from the company, which came out in the middle of January. So my point is that those who have bought the stock at 1300 rupees in July 2019 has seen a price of 1100 or 1000 rupees in January 2020 or maybe February 2020, when the pandemic situation was not having affected any of the share price. So my point is that in fact there are umpteen number of cases. Case in point is the Page Industries 36,000 now, and maybe about 6 months back it fell to as low as 18,000. Eicher Motor from a top of 10-11,000 to about 6-8,000. Maruti from 10,000 to a low of about 4-5,000. And in fact, always, in all my speeches, or even at that point of time in last year, July, I've said that, you should, as a chartered accountant, more especially for the chartered accountants who have such a strong grip on the financial analysis in taking a valuation call as well. And even taking the call on the promoters and the corporate governance issues also, one must take a pragmatic and unbiased valuation call. But what happens that, suppose take for instance, if you keep, and let me be blunt here again, this media, I do come on the CNBC TV 18 every day in the half an hour for afternoon show, and there I in fact try to give my view, and even there I have been very vocal that in fact whatever the shares which are seen rising, you will see only those stocks getting discussed on the channel for the entire day. The experts, those who are sitting every minute, and who come and give 10, 15, 20 recommendations in a day with entry and exit with stop losses getting triggered, will give you buy call on the stocks which are rising and sell call on the stocks which are selling. In fact, you don't need any brain. Even my grandson, who is 6 years old, can do that work. And that if you will find them, maybe today they have given buy call on Bajaj Finance, tomorrow they'll give a sell call on Bajaj Finance, saying that because it has gone down. And sometimes many people, try to justify their move, saying that, because we go by the present trend, we are technical analysis, we don't keep any overnight positions. That is why we have given the buy call today and sell call tomorrow. So you need to decide whether you are an investor or you are a day trader. That means you want to take your technical positions, or you want to have the investments in your portfolio. And unfortunately, looking to the queries which I get from my members every day, I must be getting about 100 to 150 queries from my members, on a live, or during the market hours, or maybe during the day. And in fact, the F&O positions is treated by them as an investment by them. That is again a bizarre to take that call. So my point is that if your psychology, if your perception is not of any kind of comfort or any kind of faith or any kind of hope to be seen by making investments and making money, I don't think one can really make money in the stock market. That's number one. Number two, the second is the expectation. When the market is seen to be bullish, in fact, again, I see people are expecting a return of maybe about 10% in a day. They want the stocks which hits the upper circuit every day or maybe continuously, and they want the returns of 5 to 10% in every day. Now that cannot be. You need to be realistic in your assessments. And I always say that if the prevailing interest rate is say X%, or in India, if I take the 10-year government of India bond yield, it is anywhere at around 6 to 6.5%. The interest rates are seen falling every day. If I take 6%, expect the return of about maybe 12%, double the thing. This thing. Put 100% risk premium of making equity investment. So I expect 12% return if the interest rate is 6%. So people, what is the logic of expecting a return of maybe 5%, 10% in a day, or maybe in a week, or maybe even in a month? That means you are expecting a return of 50% or maybe 60% annualized basis, which is not possible. And the things can only be derived if you have set your realistic a realistic expectation from the market. Maybe in the olden days, you may have got a return of, in fact, I see the data is being given by the mutual fund experts or mutual fund schemes also, that there has been a CAGR of 15%, 16%, 12%, 18%. And sometimes that raises the expectation bar of the investors. And again, they fail to recognize that in the olden days, maybe about 2 decades back, I'm referring in the year 2000 or maybe 1995, 96, when even Tata Steel, L&T, Reliance Industries, they all have raised the money by issuing the bonds at a coupon rate of 15, 16, 17%. So if at that point of time the interest rate was 15%, obviously the equity has given a return of 30%. So you cannot take the CAGR of the schemes or of the any particular experts over a longer period of time, because the olden days cannot give you the right comparison for return expectation in the current situation. If you really want to play and really want to make money, you have to be realistic in your expectation. That's very important. Thirdly, I've seen that people ask that what is the stock which I can buy for 10 years, 15 years, and or maybe for my next generation. And sometimes I say that it is very difficult to identify such stocks. I hope that this same view may have been expressed by me in my July. My point is that you have to be realistic in your investment expectation, and you cannot expect the double the present interest yield which is being given by the other bond instruments or maybe the debt instruments or maybe the bank fixed deposit. Now, third point which I've said, or I'm referring to is the holding the stocks for a longer horizon. In fact, many people ask me that give us the stock which can be held by us for the next generation or maybe for next 5 years, 10 years. And in fact, similar kind of advice is being given by the other investors also. But my point here is that do we have that kind of conviction? When we ask this question, we say that I'll hold the stock for 10 years. I'm just first trying to give the psychology. I'm just referring for a few minutes on the discussion of the psychology of the investors. Now, if you really ask me, those investors, those who have asked me for an investment for 10 years, the moment the stock has corrected by about maybe couple of percentage in 10 minutes or maybe in 10 days, he starts getting perplexed and start asking, what should I do? And so they should understand that stock market will never give you the linear kind of return. This is not a fixed deposit which rises every day with close of one or maybe with one sunset having seen, you have seen your FD having got increased maybe by 1 rupee or maybe depends on the amount you have invested. So don't expect the stock market to give you a linear return. That means every day they will not give you a return. And lastly, the people are, while connecting to the price illusion theory, when the stocks rises or stocks moves up, then they wish to buy that stock. Again, case in point could be Reliance Industries and Bharti Airtel. Now we all know that the telecom sectors have seemed to be doing well in this pandemic. We have all been, relying more on the data, work from home, WFH, and that has seen consuming more of the data, more of the net this thing also. But for this, you don't need to advise any consultant to tell you that telecom stocks will be seen looking very good. So what has happened to the Bharti Airtel about maybe a couple of weeks back when it was ruling at 500 rupees, why we did not buy? But we all love to jump to buy the stock at 600 rupees when the results got announced by the company. And on the day of the results, when this result got announced at 600 rupees, I've said that this is not the time to jump and ride the momentum or chase the momentum. In fact, I will advise to book the profits because you have the alternative available. Telecom is seen to be a duopoly market. It is not that you will only, if you miss to buy Bharti Airtel, you will not get any other telecom stocks. And people start comparing Bharti with the Idea Vodafone also to have the presence in the telecom space. So my point is that if you are a chartered accountant, and because I'm addressing to the eminent chartered accountants, I know that the members of the JB Nagar Study Circle are really seem to be quite enlightened, quite intelligent, quite forward-looking. So in such a situation, in fact, we all need to be very, very forthwith, very vigilant, and very futuristic for making an investment call while making investment into all these stocks. So with this psychology, with this parameter, now let me just come that what all we should look for the capital market way ahead. So firstly, let's not go into the day-to-day price movement. Let's not get disturbed with the view which you get to hear from the media or on the TV channel, because that is their job. They have to run the channel maybe at least 8 hours a day. They'll start their morning show at 8 o'clock or 7:30, and which will go on till 4:30, 5 o'clock. So they have to give all kind of reasons. And in fact, they will scare you. Last week, now again, let me come on the last week's this thing. We have finished. We started last week Monday with a big gap down. What was the view on the media of all the experts? I'm not saying that media is giving the view. Even media experts, media anchors are also giving the view. On Monday, if you all recall, everyone was carrying on the channel. I'm not trying to. I'm just giving you the actual happening here, which in fact makes us to, or which is in fact what you call shaken us by taking a pragmatic call on the investments and on the stock market. So on last Monday, what we have seen, whole media was talking negative about the Indian economy, about the India growth, because saying that finance minister has not given anything concrete which can really revive the economy. Now again, it pains to hear this thing, that stock market behavior can make the such a huge mammoth task of the finance ministry and of this government having done, goes into the vain or goes waste by just seeing the market behavior, for a day. Now, again, if you go by the market experts, which they want that government should buy the bad papers or bad quality papers of the corporates, listed corporates, they will be very happy. But that's not the job of the government. Government is not here to protect the listed corporates or maybe the listed companies or maybe the established houses. They have their responsibility, and more especially toward, I would be blunt in saying that this government is more concerned for the poor and the distressed section of the society. So they have made huge allocation on the migrant workers, on the hawkers, and all sort of things, and that has definitely bothered the capital market experts, because no bad papers of the big corporates have seen having bought by the Reserve Bank of India or by the government, as generally we say in case of United States. You have seen $2.5 trillion package having given by United States about a couple of months back. That amount, $2.5 trillion, got used in less than 10 days. They just bought left, right, and center of any corporate papers and all sort of things. They can afford to, because America is a rich country and India is not a rich country. India is a poor country. So my point is that on Monday, the whole view was pessimism. There was all along blood on the street, all sell call. Nobody was talking the positive about the market. Nobody was this thing. Anyway, I came in the afternoon, I say that probably this is an excellent opportunity to buy, and you will see the market taking a turn on Wednesday or Thursday, and exactly that has happened. On Monday, we have seen the market. On Tuesday, we see the market moving up, but again, in the last couple of hours, it corrected. And Wednesday, we saw the market going up quite sharply, and on that day, the same experts started very positive, saying that the market can rise from here by 10%. So what do? Can you go and hold that channel? Can you go and hold that experts? So the way we identify few of the chartered accountants as our financial experts, few of the doctors as our family doctor, few of our advocates as our family lawyer, few of our family friends as our, to whom we can go and discuss our good and bad things, Similarly, there must be a financial planner or maybe an investment advisor. The time has, olden days have gone, then when you used to buy any kind of stocks and just keep it for years and you will see them appreciating. No, that time has gone. It reminds me of the Suzlon, which used to rule at maybe 1,000 rupees. Mahesh is evident, or maybe the witness to all these things. Suzlon about 10 years back, and you will see all the leading investment bankers were giving a buy call. I'm talking the global investment bankers that the Suzlon is a best buy, 1,000 rupees, and today it is a penny stock. Similar was the case with Anil Ambani stocks. You have seen all the stocks ruling in the 4-digit, whether Reliance Infra, Reliance Capital. And when I used to caution on those stocks, people said that you may be having some kind of preconceived ill feeling about the group, and you have seen the fate of those things happening. And that's the reason, in fact, I'm still, let me be very here open and frank, that I'm contesting a defamation case of 1,000 crore having filed by Anil Ambani against me, which is still pending in the High Court. He has filed that case about 6 years back because they wanted the voices to suppress their voices. Let me tell you, in corporate field, there are a lot of mafias. The corporate mafias are seen to be very strong. So my point is that you have to be very, very, very selective. You have to have that kind of sense and knowledge in yourself that you can pick up the right advisor, right investment advisor who can advise you, who can be, of help to you. And on top of it, if being a chartered accountant, now I tell this to all the professionals. Sometimes when the thoughts are overflowing, let me excuse for being overlap or maybe, sidetracking also. But I tell this to all the professionals, because I'm also a professional. I'm a chartered accountant, chartered secretary. For last 45 years, I have been into the investment advisory. I never went into the CA practice, but that does not mean that I'm not connected with the profession. I'm making use of the chartered accountancy, my qualification and my knowledge for analyzing the company balance sheets, which is more appropriate. And in fact, let me tell you, we all professionals have the advantage of what you call saving something, because we don't have any kind of raw material. Whatever fees we have earned is out of our efforts, and that virtually, in fact, I say that our entire fees can be termed as the gross profit, and then we pay salary, interest, depreciation of computers and all sort of things, and left with the profit. So my point is that all professionals are having some kind of savings, accruing every day to them, or maybe every month, or every fortnight, or every year, or every quarter. And we need to deploy that. And I don't think that except for the share market, there can be any other avenue. If you have that, I'm prepared to come and take a shift from stock market to that particular field, or that maybe particular avenue. In fact, in all my whole career, whatever today I'm thankful to the stock market for giving me this name, fame, money, and reputation. In fact, whatever investments I make only in the stock market, except for the need-based investments. If I need to buy a bigger house, I will definitely go for it, but definitely not with the borrowed money. If I in fact go and buy a car, I never bought any car on the installments. So my point is that being a chartered accountant, you need to plan your financial very judiciously, and the same parameters, same yardsticks must be applied to your clients also while advising them. Now here, now let me just give you one more example. We all prefer. Sorry.
तुलशान जी.
Yeah.
मेंबर्स रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं, थोड़ा स्पीड धीरे धीरे बोलेंगे तो बेटर रहेगा.
अच्छा, ठीक है.
ओके. स्पीड जल्दी जा रही है क्योंकि टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम भी आ रहे हैं ना.
हाँ. अब महेश जी ऐसा है कि दिमाग में थॉट्स भी बहुत जल्दी जा रहे हैं, तो वैसे ओवरलैप हो रहे हैं, पर फिर भी कोशिश करूंगा मैं धीरे धीरे बोलने की. यस, आई कैन.
प्लीज धीरे थोड़ा. यस, थैंक यू.
अब देखिए, ऐसा है कि नाउ लेट मी कम ऑन दी प्रेजेंट सिचुएशन. मैंने just now I've said that I never advise to buy one residential house and one car on installments, or on a hire purchase, or maybe on the finance scheme. Now take the example, or take the actual situation in your whole life. What we prefer, whether, suppose, take for instance, we always love to have a debt free status. हम कौन सी कंपनियों में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं? In which companies we all invest which are cash rich. Now, traditionally, if you see, MNCs, multinational corporates, have always given you an excellent returns. And if you go and take the analysis, or maybe take the financial track record of those companies, maybe for last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, you will never find those companies having debt at any point of time. And why they have given good returns? Because they have been good paymaster. The dividend payout is seen to be very high, and they don't have the debt. Come on the personal life. If we want to marry our children, maybe to our boy or our girl, we always prefer that जो सामने वाला घर होवे उसके ऊपर कोई कर्जा न होवे. If we wish to marry our girl, our daughter, and if we always feel that अगर वो सामने वाले घर में जाए तो वहाँ पे कर्जा नहीं होवे, कोई चीज की प्रॉब्लम नहीं होवे. Similar is the case with our business, or with our maybe society. We always prefer ये आदमी के ऊपर कर्जा नहीं है, भैया कैश रिच आदमी है और बहुत सॉलिड आदमी है. So similarly, always the cash rich people, or the debt free status, have always got a better valuation in the society, in the capital market, or in the personal life. So if you have this kind of wish and this kind of situation prevailing, why do we go and leverage our portfolio? I don't understand. And how the leveraging happens? It is firstly by F&O, secondly by pledging our stocks and borrowing money on that and investing that money further into the stock market. I think this is a big trap laid down by the NBFCs and all sort of things. And sometimes, in fact, I would say that some of the brokers, those who give you the weekly finance or maybe the periodical finance, sir, आप हमारे से लोन ले लो अपना शेयर pledge करके, and then they lay you in a trap of they lay you in a debt trap. वो बहुत बड़ा खराब चीज है, believe me. And in fact, many business people ask me, because they do come to me as a friendly advice also, कि सर हम क्या करें, हमारा बिजनेस है, इट इज डूइंग क्वाइट वेल, बट अगर कोई घर में तो कोई कैश बचता ही नहीं है. I just ask them, I've given them one yardstick. I just ask them, how much profit before tax. Now, I request all of you to please listen this carefully. I'm not here going to buy those debt service coverage ratio, EV to EBITDA, EBITDA to sales multiple, and all sort of things, because they are so complicated, and a lay businessman probably will not understand. So I just ask that lay businessman that what is your profit before tax of any period, whether you talk of a monthly or you talk of quarterly or you talk of yearly. And he tells me that my profit before tax is, I'm not referring the tax amount here, because whatever profit tax is a function of the tax liability on the profit you have earned. So I asked him, what is your profit before tax? And he tells me it is 100 rupees. And I asked him that what is the interest which you have paid while calculating this PBT on which as an interest which got deducted from this. He says 300 rupees. And I, believe me, I get augusted I get really surprised to hear this. And I request you all that you all must be having the clients as your while auditing their accounts. Just go and look to these things. They must be having at least double the amount of PBT as interest having paid by them. So I asked them. In fact, one of my college friend met me in a program, in a musical program about 3-4 months back, or maybe 5-6 months back. And when I told him, he called his son from his office and he said, you just come down to Worli from Kalbadevi, and Uncle C asked, listen uncle, what he's saying. He was my college days friend. So I asked him that we all get very happy when we get the bank limit sanctioned, either as a term loan or as a working capital. In fact, I tell, we should feel ashamed, or we should feel disgusted, or we should feel that the debt trap has been laid for us. That means if a person has paid 300 rupees as interest and he has earned PBT of 100, that means he's working more for his lenders and not for himself. In fact, first he got 300 rupees earned for them, and then he was left with 100 rupees for himself. So this is not the way. And in fact, believe me, those who are running the finance company, or if I am a direct selling agent of some banks, whether I am a chartered accountant or I am a professional, I don't care. He will advise you, sir, aap loan le lo na bank se. Why don't you increase your business? I am not saying that don't avail the business, avail the term loan for creating this thing. But generally for working capital, I've seen people getting trapped more into the working capital rather than term loan. Because working capital mein kya hota hai, there is no end to it. In term loan, at least you can decide that, okay, I'm setting up a factory of 100 crores. I have 20 crores of my own. If you don't do any window dressing, if you don't do any gold plating, then that's a different case. So people say that, yes, sir, at least if I'm putting up a factory of 10 crores, mujhe pata hai ki mere paas 3 crore mera hai. I have my own 3-4 crore rupees. Maybe I will be going public issue, or maybe I will be requiring 5 crore from the bank. And then accordingly, I will plan my cash flow and take a call accordingly. So term loan, I'm not against it, but the moment you start your unit, start giving, you can increase your top line by 2x, 3x, 4x by extending the credit period. Suppose if you can achieve a top line of 100 rupees by extending by making cash sale. If you give 15 days credit, probably your sales can double to 200. If you give credit line of 30 days, probably your sales can triple, maybe to 300. But in that case, you will be requiring much more working capital, and working capital comes at a cost. And in fact, majority of the businesses, जितने भी business fail हुए हैं, and I would say that, और मैं खास करके JB Nagar वालों को कहूँगा, I will request all the JB Nagar members that see the situation of textile people. In textile, you will predominantly find Marwadi and Gujaratis as businessmen, and they have all failed in the textile business only because of the huge mismanagement of the working capital. In fact, I don't want to name the companies here. There are 10 to 15 companies which got wiped off just in one quarter. How? Because they wrote off the inventory and book debts just in one quarter. For example, they were showing, say, PAT of maybe 50 crore every quarter, but they wrote off 500 quarter just in one subsequent quarters on account of the write-off of inventory and write-off of book debts. In fact, I would say, क्या उनको पता नहीं था? Was that entrepreneur was not knowing that these are all what you call slow-moving or fictitious assets or bad debts which I'm carrying in my books? Was this auditor not aware that these were all the fictitious assets? So my point is that working capital loan is seen to be a big trap, but sometimes we really feel very happy, we get very excited. And again, to corroborate my view of this analogy which I've given here, that your PBT should at least be double of the interest what you are paying. That means if you are paying an interest of 100 rupees, you must be able to make PBT of at least 200 for yourself. and if not 200, at least same तो रखो. जितना interest आप बैंकों के लिए और lender के लिए कमा रहे हो, at least have that equal amount of money for yourself also. Go and do this exercise. I will request you all that the companies which are enjoying low P multiple of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you will find that अरे उनका EPS बहुत अच्छा है, उनका ये चीज बहुत अच्छी है, but see their interest outgo, which must be at least 100% plus 100% plus 100% of the PBT, and those companies are always carrying the small percentage, lower capitalization valuation, maybe lower P multiple. Now, continuing with this point, in fact, those who have heard me in this last couple of months during this pandemic, the same thing is applied by me on the sectors which are worst affected in this pandemic. In my view, the worst affected sectors are the multiplexes, hospitality, travel and tourism. In fact, all these things. आप मेरे को बताइए, who is going and staying in the hotel? Who is going and watching the movies in the multiplexes? The lockdown is there for last couple of months, but multiplexes were ordered to close down 1 month prior to that. And again, to give an yardstick here, in case of multiplexes like maybe PVR, they have the fixed expenses of 6x of PBT. Now, I'll request everyone to listen this very carefully. Unka PBT is suppose if their PBT is 100 rupees, their fixed cost is 600 rupees. Just to give an example, straight away, if I just give them salary, interest, depreciation, and other expenses, all three are having 150, 150, 150, 150. If they have the fixed PBT of 100 rupees, that means 1.5 times of the PBT is taken away each by salary, by interest, by depreciation, and by other expenses. Now, under accounting in AS 116 and the lease accounting, that's I'm taking interest and depreciation. You may say that the theaters are सारे lease पे लिए हुए हैं, but under the new accounting standard, those that you all chartered accountants know that the value has been capitalized and shown as a loan, and that instead of rent, it is shown now as an interest and depreciation. So you just tell me how those companies can survive when the things will start, when things will reopen. They will be need to provide you the extra precautions, maybe sanitizer, maybe mask, maybe occupancy of less than 50%. They will ask to leave one seat vacant after every one seat. I've been hearing some promoters saying that no, we will be giving to one group together. Take for instance the friends and families, or maybe some kind of thing. 6 of them have come. All 6 will be made to sit together, and that one seat will be left vacant. So maybe the occupancy will be more than 50%. This is just you are trying to what you call बोलते ना अपने आप को satisfy करने के लिए. But the reality will be something different. Similar will be the case with airlines. Similar will be the case with hotel industry. So my point is that if you have the fixed cost, which are to the extent of maybe 1.5 to 6 times of your PBT. It varies from a company to company. Maybe in airlines, the fixed costs are 3 times of PBT. In case of this fast food corners, Jubilant Food and all that, the fixed cost is 2.5 to 2.5 times of PBT. In case of multiplexes, it is 5 to 6 times of PBT. I don't think that you can really see the situation improving for these companies, at least in the next 24 months or so. I don't know the fate of those companies. Maybe many of them can get closed down. Who thought that when this Suzlon was ruling at 1,000 rupees, that it can fall to a price of maybe about 2 rupees or 5 rupees or 10 rupees. In fact, I don't know the share price of Suzlon, even what was the price today. So मेरा point जो है, which is exactly the same thing. I was damn against the valuation of PVR when it was ruling at 2,000 rupees pre-pandemic. And now, in fact, the moment we see the share moving up by 30, 40, 50 rupees, a person who is invested in this stock get excited and think that the things have bottomed out and it will not fall further. And the way the share price has fallen, you have seen the share price falling from 2,000 rupees to as low as 800 rupees. And if you really ask me, I don't see the true worth of more than 200 rupees for this stock. Whether that may happen in 1 year or 2 years or 12 months or 6 months, difficult to say. But you cannot expect, because you have to live with this kind of living standard or this kind of lifestyle, maybe at least for next 6 to 8 months. And even thereafter, the people will be very cautious. Don't expect the things to come past this phase so soon. So my point is that yes, you need to take a realistic call. Don't get biased. If I'm invested in the stock, I tell many people jocularly that if I just ask someone that, you know, take for instance, one of my friend one day asking me, yaar tu itna kyun utawla hota hai, you know, the moment you see any kind of news coming in, for example, in particular stock, say in Reliance Industries, I say, okay, you do one thing, you buy 5 shares of Reliance Industries. And the moment I got him buy 5 shares of Reliance Industries, he started for every development. The moment he see any Reliance ka board, "Arey kya lagta hai, Shashikant acha hai, this share looks good, no, they are doing quite well." Or any bad news, he will get perplexed. Oh, things are seen to be very bad. I say, now you understood that why I have always been, you know, taking a call whenever the news flow seen coming in for any particular stock. So my point is that we get biased. If you are invested in the stock, you always look the negatives also as positive, and the moment we have exited from the stock, then we even see the positive also as negative. And to give a best example is the Reliance Industries. I'm just citing you the instances which we have noticed in this last maybe 1 week, or maybe last 3 days or 4 days. In fact, there is no point in giving you the data point which are all related about some 2 years back, 3 years back, 4 years back. I will come little later on those data point as well. So my point is that you need to be futuristic, and you need to be futuristic but on a realistic scale, and need to be unbiased. अगर आप उस स्टॉक में इन्वेस्टेड हैं, और तो ये आप तो बायस कॉल लेंगे ही लेंगे, आपको जिसमें भी, बिकॉज यू आर लाइकिंग दैट स्टॉक, दैट इज व्हाई यू हैव टेकन एन इन्वेस्टमेंट कॉल ऑन दिस स्टॉक. Or you have no courage to impute that from your portfolio, or to cut off, or to exit from that portfolio. You are continuing to hold it in your portfolio, and that's why you are seen to be positive. Just as I said, that look to exit from the stock and then take a call, you will never be taking a positive call. Otherwise, you would not have exited from the stock. So my point is that yes, you need to be futuristic, you need to be realistic, and you need to take a unbiased view on your investments. Now come on the situation going forward, that what is the scenario. In fact, if you really ask me, this is what I am doing. See, everyone is invested in the multiple stocks in his portfolio. Fortunately, being an investment advisor, I have never kept more than 20 stocks in my portfolio, which I tell, in fact, everyone, though it may sound very, very immature. क्या तुलसियान जी आप ये सब चीज बात करते हो कि 20 stocks, तो ये सबको पता है. But put your hand on your heart and ask that how many stocks you have in your portfolio. On an average, I can bet that people must be having 40-50 stocks in their portfolio on an average, least. Now, this is not the way to monitor your portfolio, let me tell you. Now, I don't keep more than 16 to 20 stocks in my portfolio, which I advise everyone to do. Whatever I preach, I practice first, and then I preach, or and then I advise. So my advice is that keep 16 to 20 stocks in your portfolio, with 60 to 70% in the frontliner quality stocks. Now, what are frontliner quality stocks? I say that stocks which can exist after 10 years with a reasonable growth. I'm not expecting the superfluous growth, which we have seen in case of maybe Page Industries, Titan, Eicher Motor. They've shown very good growth at some point of time, maybe 30% CAGR for a couple of years. That is why they enjoyed P multiple of 70, 80. But that is seen unsustainable. No one can keep showing you a growth of 30-40% CAGR over next 10 years. I'm not talking about the historical data. I'm talking the futuristic data, because historical data are having no meaning in this stock market. So मेरा point है, मेरी advice है that look for these stocks as a quality stocks which can exist after 10 years but with a growth. Exist तो बहुत करेंगे. It is like playing on a cricket player. If he has already grown and grown older at the age of 35, you just can't expect and bank on him, because he may be due to retire maybe next 2 or 3 years. That's why you see in the IPL auction, the young players are getting, you know, higher bid, because they have seen to be having that fire in their belly, or maybe they have the long career seen ahead. So similar is the case, that there is no point in taking the old stocks. There are many stocks which are all existing, limping on, you know, limping, just moving with a snail's pace, but no point in taking call on those stocks. So take a call on such stocks which are reasonably, at least on your estimation, on your analysis. You may go wrong. Even I go wrong. I do go wrong. So my point is that take a call on such stocks which must find space of at least 60% in your portfolio. Now, it all depends on the individual perception, whether you may include HDFC, Reliance, Asian Paints, HUL, these kind of stocks in your portfolio, or you may choose to buy the ICICI Bank or IDBI Bank and all sort of things. That's number one. Number two, mid cap should not have a space of more than 20%. Mid cap, small cap should not have more than 10%. So 60, 20, 10, 90, 10% always should remain as a cash. So this should be your ideal portfolio. So if you have not been able to make this portfolio ideal as till this date, at least use this pandemic as a golden opportunity to reshuffle your portfolio. You will not going to get the HDFC Limited at 1500 maybe 12 months down the line or 18 months down the line. You are not going to get the HUL at the level of 2018 months down the line or 12 months down the line, because now today there is a pandemic, there is situation. Such a uncertainty is prevailing on. That is why you see these shares ruling at such a pathetic valuations. So firstly, reshuffle your portfolio, bring it healthy, make it healthy, revitalize yourself. We are all getting the advice from the medical profession that revitalize your body, increase your immunity. Similarly, we must increase the immunity of our portfolio. You must be able to withstand these all shocks which we keep getting maybe every couple of years. So bring back your portfolio to 60% to quality, 20% to mid cap, 10% to small cap, and keep 10% cash with you. That's number one. Number two, I have never seen, or I have never kept in my portfolio any stock for more than 3, 4, 5 years. For that matter, even HDFC, even for that matter, maybe Reliance Industries or maybe HUL. I keep booking profits because you will not find the same level of stocks prevailing. Forget this pandemic situation. I'm not giving you any example of the pandemic, where we have seen the fall. Reliance fell from 1600 to as low as 800 and again bounced back to 1600. I'm not referring to the HUL, which fell from 2400 to as low as 1800 and again bounced back to 2600. I'm not referring to HDFC Limited, which fell from 2300 to 1400 and again bounced back to 1800 and now it is at 1500. My point is that even in the normal market, आपको ये level जो है एक range में चलते हैं. That old days have gone when people used to buy the stocks like HUL, Century Textile, or maybe Reliance Industries, maybe HDFC Limited, which have kept on growing, or maybe ITC. Now ITC has given a degrowth or maybe negative return of more than 40%, not because of pandemic. Pandemic में तो कुछ fall हुआ ही नहीं ITC का. What has happened? Even prior to that, the stock has started correcting. So my point is that, no point in getting married to the stocks. We are not promoter to that stock. We are not promoter of that company. If you have sold the shares of the same philosophy we do in our PMS, believe me, we have sold in our PMS Reliance Industries some 6 or 7 months back at maybe 1350, 1400 rupees. Many members, when stock moved to 1500, many members started questioning, what is the sense? You don't have the अक्कल, तो आप लोग निकल जाते हो. And we again bought back the same stock at 1150, 1200. So my point is that there is all the stocks moves in a range, and you don't need to get married to those stocks. And now that taxability is not bothering so much. Long-term capital gain tax is 10%. Short-term capital gain tax is 15%. And now even the department approach has changed drastically under this new regime of this government, where they don't treat your these all businesses as a business profit, which we have seen earlier as a big harassment by the departments. In fact, tribunals have reversed the orders where the frequency on the frequency of the multiple or the voluminous transactions, they've held that as a business profit. So if you have 15% as a taxable profit, कहाँ पे आपको मिलेगा? Where you will get this kind of taxability? This one, you have a tax shield available in the form of. So don't hesitate in booking the profits even on the rising stocks. This is what I advised in those who have heard me in case of Reliance Industries couple of weeks back when it moved to 1550. I say please book kariye, and then you got the share at 1400 just in 3 or 4 days. I remember 1550 का जब भाव था करीबन 10-12 दिन पहले, every expert was coming 1700 का हो जाएगा, 1700 का हो जाएगा, 1700 का. I'm not saying that they were wrong, but they just extrapolate the present. And I'm not saying that I'm the expert, I'm the right person. But my point is that even if the price would have gone 1700, I have other opportunities available. At that point of time, I got HUL at 1900 when the block selling came from GSK, when they exited from HUL. So my point is, अगर आप एक कंपनी एक ब्लू चिप से निकल गए तो आपको दूसरा ब्लू चिप मिलेगा. आप एक मिड कैप से निकले तो आपको दूसरा मिड कैप मिलेगा. आप एक स्मॉल कैप से निकले तो तीसरा स्मॉल कैप से मिलेगा. And my one more request, since I have said that you reshuffle your portfolio and rebalance it and re-immunize it, that does not mean that in future आप A क्वालिटी के स्टॉक बेच करके C क्वालिटी का या मिड कैप का या स्मॉल कैप का स्टॉक लोगे. That interdiscipline within the group must be maintained religiously and rigidly. ये तो आप रिलायंस बेचोगे फिर आप जाकर के मे बी BC क्वालिटी का सुजलॉन ले लोगे या भारतीय एयरटेल बेच के आप आइडिया वोडाफोन ले लोगे, बोलेगा मैं तो टेलीकॉम में हूँ. So my coming on this portfolio allocation of in the depends on the size of the market. And second, my which I always, in fact for last 30 years I advise that never put more than 25% in one sector. See, we always have multiple sectors available on our exchanges. Maybe bank finance carries the highest weight. At one point of time, bank and financial stocks had a weightage of maybe as high as about 40-45% or 46% of the Nifty. Never get lured. Never put your more than 25% stake into the bank and financials, come what may. Because उस वक्त वो sector अच्छा कर रहा है. That is the reason that even the stock markets now. अगर आप निफ्टी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस देखिए, निफ्टी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस में अगर आप निफ्टी 50 स्टॉक्स देखेंगे, तो टेक द लिस्ट ऑफ दोस 50 stocks and take the list of 50 stocks maybe 10 years back. You will find that of those 50 stocks, 35 stocks have got removed, or maybe 30 stocks got removed or kicked off, and they got replaced with the new one. So even the index committee is quite smart. If you would have stuck to if you are doing the index funding and tracking the index at the current point of time, that's a different case. But if you just stuck to those old stocks, only those who were present as an index stock at that point of time, then probably you would have ruined your fortune. At one point of time, maybe 3 or 4 stocks of ADAG group were in the Nifty or in the Sensex, and where they are today. Today they don't find any space. Maybe JB Group had their presence there. So my request is that don't put more than 25% of your portfolio in any one sector, whether it is telecom, whether it is bank financials, whether it is pharma, whether it is FMCG, or whether it is cement, or whether it is automobiles. I'm not referring the smaller ones. These are the bigger portfolios. When I dekha logon ko, they just only go for pharma. I've seen many doctors, they put 100% of their investment in pharma. And what has been the fate of the pharma stocks, or maybe the dedicated fund in this last 5, 6, 7 years? Forget this last 3, 4 months ka, jahan pe pharma stocks have started rallying. Prior to that, it was very this thing. I've seen many of the top executives only going into the FMCG. That's bad. So never go put more than 25% into one sector, and never put more than 25% in one group also. Now take the case of, if you really ask me the one group where I have the highest faith, I would say that HDFC group. That is HDFC Limited, HDFC Bank, HDFC Life, and HDFC AMC. Now they have the 4 presently listed company. Group Finance tha unko nikal gaya. So if you really ask me, I say probably, and my one more condition, that never put more than 12% in one stock as well. If you are chosen 25% for in one sector, and if you want to have only 2 stocks from that sector, don't put 20% in one stock and 5% in one stock. You must not exceed 12% in one stock as well. So अगर आप मुझे HDFC के बारे में पूछेंगे, तो I will say that probably I will be comfortably putting 12% each in HDFC Bank, or maybe at least 12% in HDFC Limited, 12% in HDFC Bank, and maybe 5% in HDFC Life and 5% in HDFC AMC. But still, that adds up to 34. So I will say no, sorry, because my other rule says that it should not exceed 25% of one group. So I will not break that rule also. So अगर आप इस बाजार में इस rule को break नहीं करेंगे, break करोगे, तो you can always land yourself in a big trouble. You never know which stock or which sector will go for a toss. Take the case of retailing. Retail is seen to be an excellent sector. I see many experts talking, sir, देखिए DMart का क्या हुआ. I tell them, DMart के अलावा बाकी there are many retail stocks. What has happened to the performance of those stocks? Have they rewarded to their shareholders? Maybe Trent, maybe Future Groups. Future के 6 stocks हैं into that space. Have they rewarded this one? In fact, it reminds me of the IT companies. You know, in 2000 when Y2K, there were people still say, sir, आपको Infosys and TCS जैसे में invest करना चाहिए. In fact, I remember one anchor, I won't name him now, he's not there. At one time, he was a very prominent anchor. I sent him 600 forms of the IT companies. And of those 600, 550 are seen to be vanished. They don't even exist on the stock exchange. That means they are what you call vanishing company. And you don't find their names also included in the vanishing companies. So my point is that we cannot be choosy, and we cannot just pick and choose the few companies as we desire. In fact, our software company or IT companies ने जितना damage किया है इन्वेस्टरों का, उतना तो शायद किसी ने किया ही नहीं है. But that does not mean that we give the entire credit to TCS or maybe HCL Tech or maybe Wipro and Infosys and maybe 1 or 2 other companies which are prominent. There are at least 750 IT companies went public. And that is why of those 750, you see just 50 companies surviving, maybe NIIT Tech, L&T Infotech, and all sorts of things. Similar is the case with the NBFC group. I've seen people talking, seeing the howler results of Bajaj Finance Q4 numbers. They say because it's a pedigree. So I asked them that pedigree to bhaiya L&T Finance mein bhi hai, M&M Finance mein bhi hai. Why don't you go and buy them, which are available at a price to book of maybe 0.6, 0.7. Shriram Group bhi hai, Cholamandalam bhi hai. They are also NBFC. Why you should go and buy Bajaj Finance at a price to book of 3.5 even now, when has got value destruction of 65% has already happened from the peak. 5,000 से already 1,900 रुपया हो गया है. So why you say that this is a pedigree company or they will not be having any problem? And they don't have any answer because they are only positive because they are invested in the stock. So my point is that you cannot, अगर आप bias investment bias view लोगे तो आपको एक पक्का तकलीफ आएगी and आपको कोई भी चीज का ये देखने को नहीं मिलेगा. Now come on the situation that going ahead. I'd say this one thing that ये तो हो गया आपकी साइकोलॉजी, आपके परसेप्शन की और आपके मेंटालिटी के, आपके एटीट्यूड की. If you don't change these things, you can never make money. Now come on the way ahead, the capital market scenario. If you now take the situation, nobody knows that what is the situation going to be for FY 2021. And in fact, now just to corroborate one more point, अगर आपने देखा होगा शुक्रवार को परसों फ्राइडे को आरबीआई गवर्नर केविन, he has extended the moratorium by 3 months. Market got very upset because they were expecting that restructuring should come in. Now I'm asking maybe Mahesh ji also, Mahesh Bagaria, because he is also a loan syndication, he gets the loans arranged. Unless until you are sure about the cash flow generation at the borrower's end, can you restructure a loan? No. Because अगर आप तो similarly आज अगर आप किसी से भी पूछें, even Reserve Bank, Government of India, businessmen, they will say sorry, we do not know that where we are grouping in, whether we will be making losses or we will be status quo or will be 50% down. We do not know anything what will be the situation in FY21. So earlier Government and Reserve Bank of India expected that probably this problem can come to an end or maybe come under control by end of May. वो नहीं हुआ. So they've extended the moratorium because in such a situation, if you don't have the certainty of the cash flow generation at the borrower's end, banks cannot give you restructuring just to fall flat on the face. Take for instance कि अगर आज बैंकें आरबीआई अलाउ कर दे बैंकों को आप restructuring कर दो लोन, बैंकें कितने दिनों के लिए restructuring करेगी? 6 महीने के लिए, 12 महीने के लिए, 18 महीने के लिए. Funded interest and overdue installments will be converted into term loan. I'm again repeating that overdue installments and funded interest. अगर working capital का है वो और अगर term loan है तो overdue installments will be converted into term loan. आप उसको 12 महीने का moratorium में short term loan देंगे और फिर installments बांधेंगे. Because you do not know, maybe the situation, suppose take for instance if it lasts for 12 months or 18 months. Then again second reschedulement has to go, but RBI cannot work like this. RBI is not a what you call he's a technical expert who increases his stop loss or maybe upside target. उनको बड़ा rational होना पड़ता है. तो यहाँ पे because there is no certainty, what was the option before the Reserve Bank of India except to extend the moratorium? That means that shows the government, the Reserve Bank of India has clear intention of allowing the restructuring to happen for the overdue installments or maybe the overdue loans. But they cannot do that at this stage. Probably take for instance now May से June, July, August, 31st August तक they have extended the moratorium. Take for instance, God forbids if the situation doesn't improve on the ground of this COVID-19 by August. What will do say Reserve Bank of India? Again they will extend by 3 months. Then again you will see, oh, Reserve Bank of India has no clarity. That's the language of the opposition. They have no clarity. They have no clarity कि कहाँ पे situation जा रही है. अरे भैया जब तक पता ही नहीं कि borrower के पास पैसा कब से आना शुरू होगा, things must get normalized. Then only the restructuring can happen. So take this as a restructuring only in the form of the extension of the moratorium. But जिस दिन बाजार ऊपर जाएगा उस दिन ये view लिया जाएगा, लेकिन आज तक का तो यही view है कि no, because and that is why the Friday weakness was seen, because the entire day it was talked that the restructuring did not come. Restructuring did not come. The extension of moratorium shows the confusion on part of the Reserve Bank of India. अरे भैया Reserve Bank को confusion नहीं है. और दूसरा, what is the situation of the NBFCs and all sort of things? They will keep earning the interest during the extended period of moratorium as well. The repayment नहीं आएगा. लेकिन people say no, that may increase the bad debt. अरे भैया तो हर बैंक का discipline है, हर बैंक ने provision भी किया है. HDFC Bank has provided 15 basis point as a COVID provision of the advances. Bandhan Bank has provided 100 basis point. Axis Bank has provided for 55 basis point. ICICI Bank has provided 50 basis point. तो हर बैंक ने अपने अपने हिसाब से prudential norms and उनका accounts audit होता है. RBI does audit of all these banks and see that whether they've made the adequate provisions or not. So my point is that in such a case of uncertainty, you cannot write off any particular sector. आज अगर आप बोलते हो कि banking and financials खराब है, definitely खराब है. But bank and finance के बिना तो whole economy will collapse. जैसे telecom and bank and finance. In fact, these two sectors, अगर दो sector नहीं होगा तो पूरी economy collapse हो जाएगी. Will come to a standstill. Will come to a grinding halt. You cannot exist. तो अगर आपको बैंक एंड फाइनेंस पे डर है तो डोंट गो ऑल आउट ऑन द बैंक एंड फाइनेंस स्टॉक्स ना. At least buy the quality. If you think that amongst the bank, HDFC Bank is the best, SBI is the best, ICICI Bank is the best, probably these three banks, I feel that they are the best. Go and buy them because you cannot afford to have no bank and financial stocks in your portfolio. You need to have them. Similarly, you need to have the telecom stocks in your portfolio. You may not like pharma, you may not like automobile, you may not like cement, you may not like the FMCG, but you have to like the telecom and bank and finance, rightly or wrongly. आपको अच्छा लगे या ना लगे. आप ये ठीक है कि you don't buy Federal Bank, you don't buy Bank of Baroda, you don't buy IndusInd Bank, you don't buy RBL Bank because they are seen to be having what you call stress of the poor quality assets or maybe the loan quality book. But you cannot afford to remain no in the bank and financials. I see people, oh, we are averse to bank and financial stocks. अरे भैया बैंक एंड फाइनेंस के बिना तो चलेगा ही नहीं. You pick the best amongst the worst. So if you really ask me now with the deposit and see the balance sheet size, in fact that matters. HDFC Bank have a balance sheet size of 12 lakh crore, 10 lakhs to 12 lakhs crore, 10 lakh advances, 11 lakh crore deposits. SBI has advances of 32 lakh crore, 3 times of HDFC Bank. SBI cannot really go wrong. That's a different case that you are averse to PSU tag. वो मैं कुछ नहीं, लेकिन as long as the fundamentals work, it has to work in favor of these banks at some point of time. ICICI Bank has a loan book of maybe 8 lakh crore. Axis Bank has a loan book of 7 lakh crore. So go for the size. अगर बड़ी size रहेगी तो बड़ा provision भी आएगा. But बड़ा provision आएगा तो they will be having the sustaining power also to bounce back quickly again. So my point is that you need to have the bank and financial stocks in your portfolio as well. Now that's a different case whether that is kept at 25% or that is kept at 15% or 10%. But you cannot afford to have no banks and financial stocks in your portfolio. So my point is that yes, situation going forward is seen to be quite positive. For that reason, because uncertainty is at my end also. I'm not an expert. I'm not an industry man. I just analyze the industries. So मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि FY21 तक इंडस्ट्रियों का क्या होगा पता नहीं. But I don't see any reason that why the things will last beyond March 2021. This is the outer limit. अगर भगवान चाहा तो maybe things will start stabilizing from the October 2020 only, from this October. But ठीक है, that will be grace period. So my point is that 21-22 will really be the realistic period, and try to take a pragmatic and correct call or maybe futuristic call on 21-22, not on 2021. 2021 देखोगे तो अभी तो जब Q1 के numbers आएंगे, they will be so howler that they will give you shiver in the spine. अभी तो आपने देखा ही नहीं है, the way we have seen the results of only 15 days getting booked into the financials of Q4, which has seen the volume degrowth of 10%, 12%, 13%, 14%. बजाज फाइनेंस ने कहा 15 दिन हमारा बिजनेस गया, 4,500 करोड़ का हमारा जो अपॉर्चुनिटी AUM का चला गया. What will happen when they will lose the opportunity for 3 months, 90 days? Straight away 4,500 into 6. Because 15 दिन का एक है तो 90 दिन का 6 हो गया. That means they will say that we will lose the opportunity for 25-27,000 crore. So my point is that yes, the situation is seen to all fluid for FY 2021. That does not mean that we should not start investing into the stocks now. We must be able to take a call that these companies can withstand the pressure. These companies can really be able to bounce back quickly, and they will be able to come back. So take a call on 21-22 hereafter going forward, and take the portfolio call accordingly. And come on the India situation. आज पूरी economy, everything will be in degrowth, minus GDP. There will be degrowth, even at China, even at US. But the way the retaliation, and let me add here the last point and very important point, is the China-US retaliation. Now see the situation of China. If I wish to be very blunt, I would say there is all kind of dadagiri by China. And for the first time, you have seen the whole world getting united against China, barring 4 or 5 countries. I don't need to name them. And US taken as a lead. And without US taking a lead, nothing can happen. And in that situation, now people have started, the global multinational companies have started giving a thought of migrating their industries, their units from China to other countries. This is a different case that maybe Vietnam or maybe Indonesia or maybe Thailand have been able to take an edge over quick shifting. But they cannot go back to Europe. They cannot go back to US where the labor cost is so high. Eventually, they have to look for the Asia region, and more especially in the Asia, maybe Southeast Asia region. And India will definitely be taking an advantage, because now that your new unit का 2023. Now, what is stopping this government to extend the period of March 2023 to March 2024, 2025 for the units, that those who are migrating to or setting up the new unit and starting the production before that date and eligible for 15% tax? कर सकती है government. Why they cannot? They will do it because all the deadlines are getting extended. So my point is that will be seen quite positive. The whole world has accepted the supremacy and the leadership of Narendra Modi. And that is seen to be very big advantage. And let me tell you, few of the states are really working very hard. UP, believe me, in fact, I see excellent future for UP in terms of the industrial growth to be seen going forward. In fact, sometimes I worried that probably you will not see the migrated worker scene coming back here in Mumbai, because and that will really be a big problem, because UP and Bihar has been a big source of supply of these labors, whether you talk of the domestic labor or the industrial workers, to the units in Maharashtra, Gujarat and Tamil Nadu, because these three are predominantly the industrialized states. But the way this Yogi Adityanath is doing the work, he has reserved some lakhs of hectares of land for this new unit so fast in this one, reforms of the labor laws and all those things, that will see the GDP of UP states going up like anything. Probably that will be they will be on the peak, and they have the advantage of the huge the biggest state in the country. So you will see a big transformation likely to happen in going forward of this because of this COVID. And then the advantage, because this all Atmanirbhar, this one, believe me, self-reliant. What does it mean? Maybe people have started working on that. In fact, in pharma, we have already gained a supremacy of a global supplier of API, advanced pharmaceutical ingredients, which we call it as bulk drug, to the whole world. US and Europe have accepted our supremacy, that yes, India is superior in supplying the bulk drugs to the whole country. And that is why, in fact, US FDA has accelerated the process of the FDA clearances to the Indian pharma companies. So my point is that yes, and coming back, it reminds me of since I've said that I will touch upon some historical data, 1997 Asian financial crisis and 2008 US subprime crisis. If you take these two crises, in fact, I don't think that any crisis is similar to crisis what we are facing now. In fact, this is a standstill. I have not seen in this 100 years. I am today age of 62, but when you hear from your forefathers or you read the history book, you have never seen a lockdown of 2 months or 3 months see it happening in Mumbai. So my point is that if you really see the situation now and the way it has happened, it is going to open a very big avenue for India going forward. And that will be giving good advantage. Maybe difficult, as I said, that near term, when the things will start returning to normalcy, it's difficult to say that. I can't comment on that. But once the things will start happening, then it will be seen quite positive. And the whole world is looking upon India. So जो आत्मनिर्भर का भी है, self-reliant, this is a very good move. I remember in Shastri जी जब उस टाइम पे जब war हुआ था, तब उन्होंने कहा था कि एक वक्त का आप खाना छोड़ दो, and that is we have been able to overcome our food shortage problem at that point of time. People have adhered to. People, लोगों ने उनका respect किया. They in fact kept fast one time during the day, and that saved a lot of food grains. We did not have to import all those food grains. So yes, going forward, the huge kind of investments is seen coming into India, and the more especially the transparency in the system. If you can plug the leakages, if you can plug the corruption, which is happening. I'm not saying that still there are many states. I'm not trying to voice here as a political this one. I have no political aspirations, and I'm not affiliated to any political party. But the way the things are still, getting roadblocks between the clash or conflict of the state and center relationship, because different government in state and different government in center is really bothering. Maybe the states like West Bengal, maybe the state like Rajasthan, maybe the states like Delhi, maybe the states like Maharashtra. We are facing. You put a hand on your heart. We may not speak in the public, but that's fact. So my point is that yes, things are returning back to maybe this digital accounting, Jan Dhan account, maybe DBT, this all kind of things will definitely be putting a lot of this one. And take the case of Reliance Industries. 50,000 crore rights issue, 54,000 crore. One may argue, sir, 27,000 crore to promoter ka, fair enough. 27,000 crore to public se aa raha hai na. Have anyone thought of coming out with a rights issue of 27,000 crore? I'm knocking off the promoter money. 54,000, 50% is the promoter say. 27,000 crore Ambani brothers, Ambani लाएंगे, Mukesh Ambani. Fair enough. But at least 27,000 crore is getting mobilized from the public. Have anyone thought of this kind of scale, that too in such a situation where there is huge appetite for the stocks, the rights entitlement is ruling at 200 rupees. Now come on this rights entitlement. In fact, I've given my recommendation call on this stock, on this entitlement at 195, and it moved to 240, 235. And still I'm not, this is not just an example. Again, maybe in this 2 or 3 days, you will see the appetite getting caught, and that will see probably the rights entitlement price moving up to 260, 270. I won't be surprised, because whatever increase in the share price of Reliance Industries to be seen in this next 3-4 days will straight away get added to the rights entitlement. I'm not going into the merits and the demerits of the instrument, because that I have already spelled out. So my point is that yes, way ahead is seen to be very extremely positive for India. You have to have the patience, but coming back on that 97 and 2008, dono time pe, we have seen the fall of index by more than 55%. When Asian financial crisis came in 97, we saw the Nifty and Sensex fell by 55%. When US subprime crisis came in 2008, Nifty and Sensex fell by 55%. I'm not comparing the global data, global indices, but we bounced back exactly in 12 to 15 months. Similar is the case here. We have not seen a fall of Nifty Sensex by 55%. Even if I take bottom, I don't know, maybe 7,500 was the lowest for Nifty from maybe 12,000. What was the fall? 4,500 point ka, on 12,000, it's about 35%. So my point is that in fact our market has become quite matured, quite deep, quite vibrant. So the bounce back will also be very quick, but don't be into the market for making investment for months, for days or for years, for a couple of quarters. Where are the avenues available? Can you invest in gold? No. Can you invest in real estate? No. Can you invest in commodity? No. Can you invest in debt? In fact, it is very pathetic to see the performance of the debt mutual fund. I tell you, we must hit with the stick to all these debt fund managers. How can they default on the debt funds? Because the way they have lent to the single group, worse lending than what we have seen from the PSU banks. PSU bank ke kyun mari? They have lent to the one group or maybe to the weak group. Similar thing has been done by the debt mutual fund. They have lent 5,000 crore to G group, 10,000 crore to ILFS group, 20,000 crore to DHFL group. Was this the way to deal with, frankly, in which 38,000 crore 6 funds going into the dump? Dude, you have no hopes of seeing recovery, and Association of Mutual Fund Investors aake bolta hai, no, the investors have nothing to worry. They should say that you go and invest your money and then say that nothing to worry. It is very easy to preach and very easy to console himself. So my point is that there are no investment avenues available, and there is ample growth opportunity seen lined up for India. Believe me, the whole world is respecting. It is unfortunate that few of our opposition leaders are against the leadership of India, but the whole world is praising him. So forget the patriotism, forget the political appreciation, leadership appreciation. Be selfish and think that there can only be avenue available to you for protecting your capital and appreciate is into the capital market, that too in India. If you can take a call by making investments in the global equities, go and very good. If you can invest in Amazon, do it. If you can do it in Apple, go do it. If you can do it in Tesla, do it. But I'm not capable. We are not doing that. Though we do take a call. My son is a mechanical engineer from Carnegie Mellon, and he's a fund manager. But we say that okay, confine only on the Indian equities. So yes, even this pandemic will open the door for faster economic growth. You may see the negative GDP definitely, maybe whether it is -5%, -7%. In media are criticizing that RBI has not given the GDP figure. Kahan pe kaise denge GDP? Do they say that -4%? If they say -4%, it will come to 5%. Then the same media will ask, sir, aap to 4% bolte, have you faltered on your projection? There is no point in throwing dart in the dark. आप हवा में अंधेरे में तीर मारोगे तो क्या फायदा होगा? So my point is that yes, the capital market way ahead is seen to be ample. I am also affected in terms of the regular income, in terms of my portfolio destruction. As I said that I have my need-based investments only into the real estate. Otherwise, everything is into the stock market. And definitely we are, and even I have been invested into though I have been keeping the discipline of mid cap, large cap, and small caps. But even I do some kind of reshuffling if it is possible. Secondly, if you are if you are very enlightened and very grip on the F&O, which I promptly advise. Take the case of HDFC. आज 1520 का भाव, आपको you are convinced to buy HDFC Limited. Don't buy HDFC Limited. Sell HDFC का put 1500 का put for June series at 80 rupees. That means effectively you have bought at 1420. अगर आपको 1420 में HDFC Limited मिलता है तो it's a bargain. take it from me that in 3 years you won't be surprised to see it doubling. So आप शेयर मत लो ना 1500 में, you may get little perplexed. अगर आपको 1400-1500 का पुट राइट करिए जून महीने का at 80 rupees, you will, अगर आपको 1400 के नीचे आ गया शेयर या 1500 के नीचे 1420 के नीचे आ गया तो आप डिलीवरी ले लो, नहीं तो आप स्क्वायर ऑफ कर दो. So these are few methods which we must understand as a prudent investor, or take the help of a financial investor, because that olden days have gone where you can afford to be a passive investor. Now this is a time to be an active investor. You need to reshuffle your portfolio maybe once in every week or maybe once in every month. That, you know, स्कूल में हमको पढ़ाए थे कि घोड़ा क्यों अड़ा, पान क्यों सड़ा और विद्या क्यों भूली, तो बोले फेरा नहीं गया था. That means we have not reshuffled it. Similar will be the case with portfolio. If you will not reshuffle, फेरा नहीं गया था. If you will not reshuffle, फेरा नहीं गया था means is a reshuffle English word का हिंदी है, फेरा नहीं गया था. घोड़ा क्यों अड़ा, पान क्यों सड़ा और विद्या क्यों भूली, क्योंकि फेरा नहीं गया था. We have not reshuffled. That is why during the exam time we refresh, we reshuffle, we revise. घोड़े को जो है उसको every day go into the race course and you will find them, you know, taking the round. So they need to reshuffle. Similar is our investments, which we need to reshuffle. And if that is done, I tell you that we have very good future. The only thing that we need to have a time horizon. And if you keep hooking to with your perception and with your psychology of coming with a negative mind frame, आज तो बाजार down ही रहने वाला है ये. I don't come with that. I come with a vigor and energy, because generally I am a born bull. I'm an optimistic person and I see opportunity in adversity as well. But still, if you are at least in your portfolio, you have parked your savings. Otherwise, जब debt fund में लगाते पूरा का पूरा पैसा डूब जाता. यहाँ तो कम से कम पूरा पैसा तो नहीं डूबा है. Even if you have bought HDFC Limited in 2300, आज भी 1500 है. My 67% wealth is intact, and it has prospects to bounce back. The way we have seen for Reliance Industries, bounce back from 900 to 1600 just in a matter of 3 months. In this last 45 days, it has given a gain of about 35%. So my point is that you have advantage of seeing the lumpy returns coming back into the stock market, because they don't give you linear return. So yes, going ahead, India has a very good future. Let's write off 2021 from your calendar, from your diaries, from your analysis, from your books, from your account books, everything. And let's hope that 21-22 we start fresh with a new vigor, with a new energy, and with new enthusiasm. With this, I close my this one. Happy investing, and if you can have any kind of question and answer, I'm free to answer that. Yeah, Mahesh.
Yeah, thank you, Tulsian ji, for making an expert view on volatile capital market. I think most of the questions you already covered in your speech, because everybody from, like to tell you, everybody from our study circle members have been appreciating you and writing very good about you, giving good information and all that. That's the appreciation for you from our members. You have been already advised that don't marry the stocks, book the profit whenever it is there and buy again. And reshuffle, churning the stocks, your portfolio, don't keep more than 20-25 stocks, because churning, STCG is 15%, LTCG is 10%. So forget it now, LTCG and STCG, buy and trade and hold the stocks. Now I'll take up the few questions which are remaining out of your speech. The first is, RBI Governor on 22nd May said that GDP growth may be negative in FY21. How it will impact capital market at the end of the year?
Sir, I've already touched on this. I've said that this is nothing new. Is this something new to any of us that GDP will be negative? 100% it will be negative. If US can post a negative GDP growth of 4.8% for Q1 of calendar year 2020, with an impact of hardly less than 1 month, then you can understand that whether the GDP of India will be -1% or -8%. No point in giving a big range, and that's what I've said, that rightly so, Reserve Bank of Governor did not hint for any kind of GDP growth in the absolute number. He did not say that it will be -6%, -4%, -7%. It is for us to take a call, because we do not know when the economy will start reviving. We knew that the downside had started from 1st April in this calendar year, but we do not know that till when this downside will last. Will last till 30th June, 31st July, 31st August, 30th September. We do not know. So yes, the things are going to be this one, and if its situation get worsened, definitely with the results of every quarterly data, whether on GDP front or on the financial results, it will keep affecting the stock prices. But those stock prices at that point of time need to be considered and individually for each stock, and investor has to take a call accordingly.
Yeah, another question is, government has announced stimulus and relief package of rupees 20 lakhs crores to boost the economy. How has the stock market received it in long-term view?
See, stock market is all now injured with the short term. They only, I don't think that they have a long term view. Unfortunately, I must say that, because as I've said that if you would have seen the government saying we'll buy 10 lakh crore ka DHFL ka paper and all blah 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 and all what you call this junk debt mutual fund, then probably should the media would have said this is an excellent move done by the government. They don't care for the distressed people. They don't care for the migrant workers. They don't care for the poor. It is very easy to come and talk on the channel that, you know, oh, we are care for the there. They only see this distress and poor people as a source of consumption for boosting the FMCG sector or for boosting the consumption. Otherwise, they have their vested interest. They have their narrow approach. So this is an excellent move given by the government. They do need to care for everyone. Only unfortunate part is that still there is no coordination between the state and government, state and center, in respect to the distribution of the food grains, which has been announced by the central government, that it is not reaching to the rural poor people. But in my view, definitely if the situation would have taken 12 months to recover with the move of the centers, you know, the recovery process can get curtailed by 50% at least to 6 months. So let's wait and wait to see the benefits, but this is seen to be an excellent move by the central government.
Good. As reported, I don't know, idea is not there, it is Airtel.
Oh, so then still you are, oh.
Yeah, I will repeat it. Reported a German leather goods manufacturing company has shifted to Agra. Whether India would be able to successfully bring about structural changes like labor laws and other regulations to attract a large chunk of companies which are likely to be shifted from China. क्या चीन की दुकान बंद कर सकेगा हिंदुस्तान, and what will be the impact on the capital market?
See, I think that charity needs to begin from home. We say China की दुकान बंद कर सकेंगे. Can we take a vow that we will not buy any Chinese product? Can we do that? Let me ask all of us. We go into a provision shop. We say battery देना, torch बच्चों का that battery cell. He says China 10 रुपए का, वो India 16 रुपए का. हमको Chinese वाला दे दो. So let's be honest. Let's put your hand on heart that we will not buy firecrackers. We will not buy what you call our gods, our paintings, our any Chinese goods. And if we take that wow, definitely we can stop. हम China की दुकान को बंद कर सकते हैं. Coming on the labor laws, in fact, each state, as I've said, as I've seen, UP is taking a lead in that. UP is very proactive in making the labor reforms. Central government is seen very proactive in labor reforms, because without bringing in labor reforms, I don't think that any global company will come in. So yes, I'm quite hopeful that if you need to invite the global investments, you need to come to India, you have to sacrifice. And as such, many of these labor laws are becoming just academic, defunct on paper only, and they've lost their teeth. So let's hope that things will improve.
Good. American pharma company Moderna is said to have developed corona vaccines and have selected a pharma company in India for manufacturing under their initiative. Is there a good time ahead for pharma sector in India?
See, again, you need to take a selective call. You need to take a specific call. But now this all COVID situation are all seen happening in many of these companies. Many companies have claimed here in India also. Coming on this, there's a Jubilant Life has have tied up this company. They are this Hykel Limited have claimed to have developed the API. If API has been developed by Hykel Limited, that can be seen very positive. So I think again, you know, you just cannot take the generalized call on all the pharma stocks, because there are about 40-50 companies available. You start picking up all of them, then again you will exceed 25% stake in pharma, and you will exceed 20 stocks in your portfolio. So you be selective. Maybe biosimilar could be the situation. Probably if we have the vaccine, then people will forget probably the COVID also, or maybe the corona in this next 12 months, and then with some new diseases will come in. So take a authentic progressive pharma company in which I see Biocon or Aurobindo Pharma, these kind of stocks to be seen quite good. But be selective in choosing pharma.
Correct, sir. Since work from home concept is picking up fast, there will be less demand for commercial real estate. Will it impact the real estate sector? Hello?
Yeah.
Since work from home concept is picking up fast, there will be less demand for commercial real estate. Will it impact the real estate sector?
See, as of now, this work from home concept is definitely catching on. But see, who visualized that this Ola Uber will come in? Who visualized that Oyo will come in? Then who expected that they all will collapse like in overnight? So you never know that similar will be the case. Who earlier, I remember the Birlas used to operate in Mumbai from one building industry house of less than 50,000 square feet. Now their one back office is of 2 lakh square feet. So yes, what you say is right, that in the near term, the querist is right in saying that in the near term, you will be seeing the less demand of the commercial space because people will start operating from work from home. But I don't know whether that will be the right conclusion or not, because maybe people will again move back. It all links to your prosperity and the new avenue of business coming in. If we see the new global units coming in into India, they will be requiring humongous space of the commercial space for their working as well. So let's not jump on this conclusion as of now. Don't buy the fresh real estate, but if you are holding it, let's not get upset and let's not get disappointed.
Thank you, sir. What are the growth prospects of Reliance Industries in the near future? It is bringing huge right issue. Moreover, its subsidiary Jio is raising funds from blue chip private equity investors.
See, again, Jio has already proved its worth on the capital market. They already got a valuation of 5 lakh crore. In fact, for Reliance Industries, if you really ask me, I see next two triggers. One is the Jio listing, and second is the O2C business, that is refinery and petrochemical business getting hived off. And are they able to succeed in placing any kind of percentage stake to Aramco, whether 20% or 25%? Because I'm expecting that earlier they were expecting 20% O2C business to be getting placed for about $15 billion valuation. That means they were getting about $75 billion valuation for the entire O2C business. Now, even if I prune that valuation to $60 billion, and if Reliance can think of giving 25% to Aramco, that will be seen a very big trigger. And since the process of O2C hive off has started, and we all know that this hiving off into a separate company will cost to company about 6,000-7,000 crore as well. So company is not a fool of having initiated this move when they are prepared to spend an amount of 5,000 to 6,000 crore on this hiving off move, then definitely something must be cooking on concretely. So IPO of Jio in FY21 and this OTC hive off and induction of a strategic investor can really be a big trigger. And I'm quite bullish on their new generation business, that is Jio and retail. Coming on specifically on rights issue, I again see a very good opportunity for the rights issue to subscribe, because you only need to pay 75% of the amount, balance 75% in next 18 months. So again, you have advantage of retaining partly paid shares by paying 25%, and even if you buy from the market by paying 220 rupees premium. That means effectively you are paying less than 40% on the share price and can retain the share benefit entirely for the next 18 months.
सही सर, अभी कोविड के साथ नहीं, जियो के साथ जीना है. Current situation of COVID. But what is life after the COVID? Are any companies going offensive instead of being defensive?
See, I think that's what I've said, that one has to look for the future. One has to be futuristic into the stock market. Now, if you really ask me, except for the pharma and telecom, I don't think that any sector is going offensive. Everyone is seen to be defensive, and that's the right approach. Because when it is raining, there is no point to be adventurous. When there is tsunami in the sea, or when there is a storm, no, even all swimmer, they stop swimming. They just swim with the current. So except for this pharma and telecom, I don't think that anyone is aggressive.
Correct. Sir, everyone is hoarding liquidity. Banks are not lending and public is not spending. There is no proper flow and allocation of capital. Then how will the economy will come up?
See, now I think this is the exact similar situation of 97 Asian financial crisis and 2008 subprime crisis. I remember exactly the same thing had happened. People had no intention to spend money at that point of time, and nobody was spending, and banks were not lending money. But thereafter, see the kind of surge which we have seen into the economy, global economy. So with the liquidity seen having pumped in by the all global economy, 2.5 trillion by US, you may see another 2 trillion getting pumped by US in the next 45 days. Similar is the case with Japan. Similar is the case with China. So the global liquidity will see the huge liquidity coming into the India as well. And even in coming on India, people, they do get cautious, because in India, people are very saving oriented people, and they will definitely not be seeing today now. Once the cash flow, once the stability comes into the business, they will again be becoming quite adventurous.
There is an impact in US. How do you see performance of IT companies like TCS and in US?
Infosys.
And in the US, the pandemic impact is more, and the sales are just 6% to peak, whereas in India it is more than less than 30%. Why is the difference?
See, let's not compare the share price of India with US, number one. Number two, generally I've seen this maybe in this last 15 years. In fact, I would say that we were the first to start work from home, and we were the first to make digital, because my www.sptulsian.com went digital in 2007, and my more than 50% of the people are working from home from 2008 or 2009. So I don't think that if you go by the commentary of these top companies, that is Tech Mahindra, Infosys, TCS, Wipro, HCL Tech, they have said that 93% of the total people are working, and about more than 80% are working from work from home. So nothing has really derailed their business as of now. Secondly, no one can afford to compromise on the technology cost, whether it is aviation, hospitality, or maybe the industrial, any sector, any company. So they will continue to have the same allocation. Even the hospitals and even the hotels and multiplexes and maybe the travel and tourism industry will not see the cut into their tech budget. So I'm not worried on this tech sector per se going forward. You can also call them as a semi-defensive. Though difficult to take a call, as I said, that Q1 and Q2 results can definitely throw the shockers for all the sectors, all the companies. But I'm least worried on the frontline tech stocks going forward.
Sir, what more can be the Indian government do to avoid the recession?
See, government should only be able, the Reserve Bank, government along with the Reserve Bank should able to push the lending to the sectors, should make the what you call bankers to be more aggressive in lending, because now we are seeing that bankers are seeing turned risk averse. They are not coming forward and lending the money to the sectors desired, but maybe for their own reasons. And secondly, they should dedicate some kind of window where maybe an interest rate of 2% or 3% can be capped instead of 6, 7, 8%. If government can say that, okay, we will cap the 3% and interest subvention of remaining 3% will be borne by the government, maybe to MSME, not to the industries across the board, can really prove to be beneficial. And thirdly, some kind of soaps to the agriculture. Though this APMC dismantling APMC is seen to be really a positive move, but that must get implemented at the ground level also, at the state level also.
Sir, the specific view on NBFC, private sector bank and PSU banks, will the NPA level go up once the given moratorium period is over? Like that, how they will repay after the moratorium, because there won't be any pakka cash flow with them unless the industry again comes up. So how all of a sudden before the year end, any company or any trade would be able to repay to the bank the accumulated amount of interest and principal by the year end? That will be again be a problem to the bank. A lot of units may go NPA.
See, again, this apprehension is right. That's what I've said, but that's what I've given a pride reply also, that I don't see moratorium as a solution. Suppose take for instance, 12 months moratorium has got accumulated, then the economy has started reviving. At that point of time, we will see the restructuring happening, whether that restructuring will happen for 12 months or 24 months, and that will give the breather to the borrower to repay. Now coming back on, you cannot take the across the board call on all NBFCs, private sector bank and public sector bank in the same manner. You need to be really cautious, because I'm worried on the smaller NBFCs and the smaller private sector bank and the public sector bank per se. But that's what I've said in my speech, that you need to be little selective, because you cannot afford to overlook banking. So you need to be selective in quality. Take the case of HDFC Bank. They generally lend the unsecured amount to their existing customer only where they have the old security available, which gets covered to their new unsecured loan also. So they will be able to promptly bounce back and with the least asset quality pain. But other bankers and NBFCs will definitely be seeing this pain. Just to give an example, Bajaj Finance, they've lent to many borrowers at zero cost EMI, because they have recovered that upfront interest from the manufacturer. Now they say that for moratorium, they will be asking the interest from their borrowers. Now borrowers will definitely say that I have availed zero cost EMI. Why should I pay you interest? So they will be losing interest. They will be compromising on the asset quality. So you need to take individual call on each NBFC. But I'm selective positive on, because I cannot afford to overlook banking sector from my portfolio. So that's why I will be rather selective in maybe HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, and SBI.
Yes, sir. Sir, will India also print currency, and would it impact gold prices as other countries are also printing currency?
See, I think printing in currency by any country is a suicidal. If they cannot borrow, if their rating is all junk, and if they want to make their rating junk, they should go and print the currency. And I don't think that the India is such a fool to take this step. And India will rightly be what you call raising the resources in a transparent manner, maybe from the global agencies, from the global sources, but will never print the currency.
What steps should minority shareholders to take for delisting offers?
Be reasonable in asking for the delisting price. Don't get what you call too enthusiastic and too greedy on asking for the higher delisting price.
Good. And you have not said how much gold should be in the one's portfolio. Is there gold will remain something 5% or something in one portfolio?
Maheshji, I have not in fact allocated the entire wealth of a person. I have only confined myself to his portfolio, his asset allocation into the stock market. But if you really ask me, overall, I've said that maybe one house and one office should be your own, and I never count them as a part of your savings portfolio. Similarly for the gold, it should not be more than 10% in the form of jewelry and in the form of need-based gold, and that we always have in the form of our social commitments, in the form of our social functions at a relevant point.
Correct. Many of stakeholders like bank and stock exchange are asking to submit the impact of COVID-19 in view of the prevailing uncertainty of lockdown and resuming of the activities. How accurate one can assess the impact on different sectors? Please throw some light on this, because we cannot assess exactly. Right?
कोई नहीं कर सकता. Let me be very practical and very clear. If you are, let's ask an expert of a particular industry. Even he will not be able to comment on this. So what is the point in wasting time saying that what will be the impact? If the government and Reserve Bank of India, who is closely monitoring, are not able to take a call, then who we are not more smarter than both of them to take a call that how the scenario will pan out going forward, unless until we see the sign of revival start happening.
Members want your expert view, since you already said which specific stocks for category 1 large, but mid and small cap. People want specific stocks to be invested at present scenario, mid cap and small cap. If you can give some hints.
See, mid cap and small cap stocks needs to be monitored on a daily basis or maybe on a frequency. But for a larger one, I can say that I've already hinted HDFC Limited, HDFC Bank, Asian Paints, maybe Reliance Industries, Hindustan Unilever, Godrej Consumer, Dabur, because my focus and liking is more on the FMCG, IT, bank financials. These are the and telecom. So amongst telecom, you can choose to have into the Reliance Industries, because that gives you the complete coverage. Then in the FMCG, you can go with the HUL and Dabur and Godrej Consumer, because they are seen to be ruling at a quite low valuation. Amongst the IT, you can choose to go with TCS, Infosys and HCL Tech. Amongst the banking, you can go with HDFC Banking and Financials, HDFC Bank and ICICI. And for rest of this mid cap and small cap, you need to take the timely call as the situation pans out sector wise or the company wise.
Good. What are whether NCD issued by Axis Bank and taxable bonds by Government of India be a good investment option now to invest if somebody has the cash surplus?
Clear no for both, because I won't advise anything which attracts the tax at a full rate. And again, remaining, because you never know that when the tide will turn at that time, you will get blocked in this all debt instruments where you cannot exit quickly from them as well.
Good. I think, Seemaji, I think all the questions have been covered. Do you want from members to ask the questions, or how it is next?
Yeah, I think we can take a couple of questions.
Which has already covered should not be.
Yeah, repeat questions. Mr. Praveen Mashru, if you want to, has raised a hand. Let him ask the query. Mr. Praveen Mashru.
Make him unmute. Yeah. Make him unmute.
Yes, yes. Yeah, Mr. Praveen Mashru.
Hello. Hello, my query is whether State Bank is good buy at 150 for a long term.
Yes, it is a good buy. State Bank is good buy at the current rate for long term.
Thank you.
Hastimal. Mr. Hastimal Sacheti.
Someone has posted that which are the stocks. Someone can repeat. Let me only repeat here in the quality stocks frontliners in paint. In FMCG, I have recommended HUL, Dabur, and Godrej Consumer. In IT, I have recommended Infi, that is Infosys, TCS, and HCL Tech. In banks and financials, I have recommended HDFC Limited, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank. In pharma, one can go with Biocon. So these are the few stocks which have been recommended.
Hello.
Hastimal Sancheti.
Yeah. Can you, sir, can you highlight on this Vedanta delisting?
See, I don't think that the current price offered by Vedanta has any meaning because the current book value is on the consolidated and standalone basis is anywhere between 175 to 210. So when this process will open, definitely one should go for delisting. But let's allow the reverse that book building process to start happening. And if they are serious, if the promoters seem to be serious, then one can expect a price of about 125 to 140.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Jaisal Khakaria ji.
Yeah, sir, your views on the infrastructure sector for short.
Infra for short term. I don't think that any infrastructure stuff sector for short term you can be taken because for short term we generally take it 3 months. But EPC players, some of the EPC players like EPC can definitely be looked into.
Okay. Mr. Cha.
Hello. Yeah, I just wanted to ask your review on mutual fund and SIPs.
See, I'm not an expert on mutual fund and SIP. For that, you need to consult the mutual fund and SIP. But if you really ask me, I will be rather comfortable in having my own investment portfolio at this stage rather than going with a mutual fund or SIP.
Okay. Shitanshu Damania. Sorry, Rajesh Shah. Rajendra Shah, please.
Yes. Sir, good afternoon. How is the United Phosphorus or any other stock on agro industries?
See, United Phosphorus came out with excellent numbers. And if you really see, I advise that you all go through the numbers which have been declared day before. They came out with excellent numbers. Arista Life Science acquisition has started yielding results. Their debt position is seen very comfortable. So if that's seen to be one stock, and 2 or 3 other stocks, if you really want to go into the agrochemical, then probably Hykel Limited, Aarti Industries, and maybe Atul Limited are seen to be other good buys.
Mr. Shitanshu Damania.
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can.
Okay, sir, I got a question. This such a volatility in the stock market. Every day you see one day it is falling, one day it is increasing. How can an investor confidence be there in this market? Because you see the scenario what the RBI government is saying, there will be negative growth. How do you see the stock market to react on this, and will it sustain the present level of the Nifty or the Sensex? And would you advise that at least 25% of the stock you should sell it at this particular moment at least to book profit?
Sir, my whole presentation or my whole lecture was surrounding on this only or revolving around this only. Now, that's what I have said, that if you are a day investor, then you need to worry for the volatility. But if you have a time horizon of at least 1 year, because don't look anything, expect positive up to March 21. And profit booking is always advisable in the market. That's what I've said, that never get married to the stocks. If you keep getting profits, keep booking them. That was the whole theme of my presentation, which I've elaborated for 1 hour.
Vinita Ranayat.
Yeah, sir, very nice speech. I needed to ask one question. Liquid mutual fund, what is your take on it vis-a-vis fixed deposits?
Ma'am, I am not an expert on mutual fund. You need to consult a mutual fund expert, but I will not advise the liquid mutual fund really to go through, because if you see the situation now, liquid mutual funds are largely the data oriented, and there is seem to be huge risk the way the fund managers are really deploying your money out of the fund of the unit holders. It's really seen very risky. So I will advise to refrain from investing in liquid mutual fund. And for detailed query, you can consult mutual fund expert, because I am not a mutual fund expert.
Sir, one more question about gold ETF. Is it a good time to go for gold?
No, even I am not a commodity expert as well.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, sir.
Amit Sangoi.
Hello. Sir, now due to COVID situation, the auto sector, what do you feel, like two-wheeler sale after that, like Bajaj Auto is there, other stocks of auto sectors are there, can increase the sale?
See, definitely the things will improve or seen positive for the auto sector, and in fact, pent-up demand will be seen coming in. But we are taking more positive call, because you again need to be selective. So we are taking more positive call on one Maruti amongst the passenger vehicle and one Hero Moto amongst the two-wheeler. Because Hero Moto, if you see, 65% they are into the entry segments up to 125cc. They have 65% market share in India, and people are the rural people, more especially the rural people, are going to buy, or those who cannot afford, even they will definitely go into the 125cc. So I see more value in Hero Moto rather than Bajaj Auto, and Eicher Motor, and all these are the cult bike, of the high end. So I'm not selective auto positive, overall positive on auto sector, but selective buy call on Hero Moto and Maruti.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Rajendra Kumar Shah.
Hello. Yes, sir. Hello, excellent session. It was a nice session. I just wanted your views on InvITs, IndiGrid InvIT and IRB InvIT, whether it can be a replacement for a fixed income strategy, and how to keep the investment in the InvITs.
See, I'll not advise you to go for both the InvITs, because if you see, the promoter comfort is not there. Secondly, the debt portion of the infrastructure seem to be really dwindling. And the fortune of both these InvIT will depend on the performance of the group's infrastructure company. So definitely, huge caution is required on both this InvIT, and I won't advise buying it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Mirin Shah. So, thank you, SP Tulsianji. It is a great session, and very nicely you have explained the capital market in your lucid way. I now formally request CA Krishna Kumarji to give vote of thanks to CA SP Tulsianji.
Thank you Tulsianji.
Very nice, very great session.
आई थिंक कल से सब लोग लग जाएंगे अपना पोर्टफोलियो रिसफल करने के लिए. आपने बहुत अच्छा स्टॉक स्पेसिफिक एडवाइस शायद पहली बार दिए आपने, तो हमारे मेंबर जरूर उसका फायदा उठाएंगे और कल से अपना पोर्टफोलियो रिसफल करेंगे.
मैं तो कोशिश करता हूँ मेरी तरफ से सही एडवाइस देने की, बाकी मेंबरों पे डिपेंड करता है कितना लेवे कितना नहीं लेवे.
हाँ, ये बात तो सही है सर.
जैसे मैंने टाइटन का आपको उदाहरण दिया, आते ही जब मैंने पिछले जून जुलाई के कहा था 1300 में निकल जाओ, देखिए आप क्या है, वैसा ही है.
यस सर. Now, Krishna Kumarji, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Seemaji, for giving me the opportunity for vote of thanks for today's learned speaker, Sri SP Tulsianji. Some of the key takeaways of today's webinar is he had mentioned the importance of financial and investment advisor. His second major advice was PBT must be higher than the interest expenses. In the portfolio, there may be 15 to 20 stocks, and in portfolio allocation, 60% should be the quality stock, 20% should be mid cap, 10% should be small cap, and 10% should be cash. And he had also mentioned that we should keep booking the profit. Then interdiscipline within the portfolio has also been mentioned by him. And one more advice what he had given, that not more than 12% investment should be there in one stock and not more than 25% in the one sector. And the other next he had mentioned that there is the importance of being debt free, and there should be discipline in working capital funding. I understand that our members have very much benefited by today's speech given by Sri Tulsian ji. On behalf of JB Nagar CP Study Circle, I thank you, Sri SP Tulsian ji, for giving such a wonderful speech. And I also thank today's moderator, Sri Mahesh Bagaria ji, for conducting such a wonderful session. Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And some of the comments from the member just for your this thing. Superb eye-opening session. Thanks once again, JB Nagar team, and for such a superb session. Thank you. Eye-opening session. Sincerely, thanks for the wonderful presentation. A lot of comments from the members. Thank you once again, SP Tulsian ji and our CA Mahesh Bagaria ji for a wonderful session.
सीमा जी
Yes, Seema ji, I could
कॉम्प्लीमेंट कंपाइल करके भेज दीजिए उनको.
I could be able to see those comments, and thank you very much, Mahesh ji, and thank you, Seema ji, for taking such a page for this wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you once again.
Thank you.